The following program is paid for by Main Street Living.
Hi, I'm Pastor Matthew Harrison, President of the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod. Starting in the late 1950s, Lutheran Hour Ministries aired a television program called This is the Life in their efforts to bring Christ to the nations. It was a critically acclaimed show that used story and drama to convey eternal truths from God's Word. And it featured actors who were just getting started in their careers. Recently, Lutheran Hour Ministries, in partnership with Main Street Living, remastered and brought to HD quality about 50 of these programs. You may notice some young actors who've become very famous. And even though the props and styles are of the 1960s and 70s, the subject matter is still very relevant. So please sit back and enjoy this week's episode of This is the Life.
Edie? What's wrong?
Irene just called.
Irene? Tell me talking to her still bugs you. All right, what domestic catastrophe did my ex-wife have to report this time? Now, don't tell me there's a bulb out in the garage and she wants me to come out and fix it for her.
No, Joe, it's about your daughter.
What about her?
Well, Irene says that she's run off. She's gone to live in the village. And Joe, Irene says that she doesn't think Laurie is living alone.
What's the matter, Daddy? Daddy, what's the matter? What's the matter?
Nothing, Laurie.
You look so funny.
Well, now I'm a funny-looking daddy.
What's the matter, Daddy?
Why do you keep saying that?
You look like you're gonna cry or something.
Well, now, men don't cry.
You do. You cried 2 Sundays ago. Remember?
Yeah.
Don't cry, Daddy.
I'm not crying, sweetheart.
I miss you.
I miss you, too. Sundays really aren't enough, are they? Well, what does your husband say to all this, Irene?
He's pretty upset, too.
Well, was he trying to talk to her? And?
Couldn't get through to her at all. Any more than I could. Joe, maybe if you go to her and try and talk some sense.
Yeah. Where is she?
I'm not sure. She was dating a boy who worked in a bookstore called The Smiling Leopard or something. He lived above it. It's in the East Village.
East Village? Oh, that's beautiful. Now, all we know, she might have been mugged or even worse. You could have tried to stop her.
I did. I tried to talk to
Well,
her.
you could have tried harder.
Well, what about you? I told you I could see something like this coming the last time you called.
You never said a thing.
I did. But you were so enthused about this toothpaste ad you were writing. You were going on and on.
All right. Knock it off.
I'm sorry. You just don't know how upset I am.
Has she been seeing this young man long?
I suppose so.
Don't you know anything at all about this?
She had been dating a lot of boys. This Chuck was just another name to me.
Yeah, well, he's more than a name now.
You don't have to shout at me. You haven't changed, have you? You were always this way in a crisis.
You know, it's really a pleasure.
What is?
It's really a pleasure to be married to someone who doesn't belittle me all the time.
I didn't mean to belittle you. Look, would you like some coffee?
You never get ruffled, do you? You're so calm and cool, sometimes I wonder if you're even human.
I'm human, Joe. I'm very human. Maybe someday you'll remember how human I am. Joe, may I borrow this?
Well, are you sure you want to read Nausea? The last person borrowed this got airsick.
No, I'm interested in Sartre's philosophy.
You want to be an existentialist? I thought you were too busy with your social work.
Well, that's just the point. You know, sometimes I miss not having to think. I feel like I'm not a part of everything that's happening around me, and I want to be.
That other people don't feel that way.
We have guests, Joe. You might mingle.
I am. Yes, I'm warming up with one guest, and then sooner or later I'll work up to a 20-guest mingle with bells and a brass band.
I better mingle, too.
No. Hold on. We were just beginning an intelligent conversation. You wouldn't leave me with these colorless commuter types, would you?
Joe, could I talk to you for a moment?
Please, join us. We were just about to get into Sartre.
Alone, Joe. Yeah? I'll be back. There are other people at the party, Joe.
Other people or automatons?
Are you including me?
Look, Irene, I'm sorry, but I can't phony things up. Now, these people bore me. I can't spend the whole evening talking about golf scores or new cars or profits and losses or who's going to put another room on the house. Now, if that's the kind of thing you like, that's fine, but leave me out of it.
All right, Joe. Honey, relax. Hardly anyone comes in here. Will you stop worrying about your wife's friends walking in here?
Can we be sure that they won't?
Well, you want to go someplace?
All right, what'll it be? Hotel or motel? It's your turn to choose. What do you say we figure out a different name? I'm kind of tired of Wilson.
Doesn't matter what name or where we go, but let's get out of here.
Doesn't matter, does it? We have that look about us. The desk clerks would say it's the unmarried look.
The happy look.
Happy I can't even finish a meal.
Would you be happier at home, Joe? Oh, I know how you feel about Laurie. But if you stay with Irene for Laurie's sake, darling, you're going to be miserable.
I don't want to stay with Irene. All we do is pick at each other all the time.
Oh, I can't stand it when she makes you feel second rate.
I work as hard as anyone I know. Just so happens that I'm an advertising copywriter, and agencies are rather unstable. Right, so I've lost a couple of jobs. Well, who hasn't? I've always caught right on with another firm.
You don't have to justify yourself with me. Not with me, Joe.
Well, Dad, it's about time. Ready for the big shootout?
May I come in?
Just check your guns at the door. Quite the little housekeeper, aren't I?
Is this yours, Lauren?
Yeah.
What is it?
I don't know. I'm working it out.
Does your boyfriend work?
Yeah, he works downstairs in the bookstore. Makes real honest to goodness money, too. Just like the good, honest, straight people.
Do you love him?
Lavishly.
Well, what brings on this burst of tidings? I can remember when you couldn't keep your own room straight.
I'm not a child anymore, you know.
Funny you should say that. You're acting like one.
Oh, you think this is kid stuff?
Running away from home? I thought you got that out of your system a long time ago.
Look, I'm not running away from anything. I'm running towards something.
What? Or are you working that out, too?
Dad, it's dead at home. It's a mausoleum. At least here it's alive. Don't you understand how it feels to live with someone you love?
Understand?
Joe, how does it feel to be living with Edie, Joe?
Daddy, what's the matter?
Daddy, what's the matter?
What?
Are you okay? Daddy?
How does it feel to be living with Edie, Joe?
All right, so you found out. Edie and I are living together. Well, good. Congratulations, you win. You and I are separated. Even I can't do anything I want.
Do you want to marry her?
Yes?
What about Laurie? Have you thought about her?
I've thought about her a great deal.
The devoted family man. The man who prides himself on being such a marvelous father.
I love that child. I always will.
Then what is it? Why are you walking out?
This house. The people we surround ourselves with. The sameness of it all. We never say anything different to one another. We never do anything different. It's so predictable, it's deadly.
I told you, a vacation.
We've tried vacations. It doesn't help. We come back and the deadliness starts setting in all over again. It's always there.
Except with Edie? Joe, don't you think a lot of people feel this way? Just want to chuck it all? Please, listen. I still love you.
You don't love me. You're just used to me.
I'm not very good with words.
We
but-
both want different kinds of lives. I don't know about you, but I'm going to go out and get the kind of life I want.
Joe, you're sick.
I know what I'm doing.
Daddy, you were scaring me. Just standing there like you were in some kind of a trance or something. Look, you want something cold to drink?
Something to drink?
Joe, you've got to stop drinking. Making you depressed. I know how you feel about Laurie, but she'll be all right.
Irene wants us to talk to Pastor Rockwell. She thinks we can save the marriage. We have some friends who he's been working with. They were in somewhat the same situation.
Oh? What happened?
They went back together.
You mean that you'd go back to Irene after everything that's happened between us?
Edie, I can't bear the idea of losing Laurie.
Have you forgotten what your life was like with Irene?
So it wasn't easy. I can't give up my child.
Well, you're going to have to make up your mind, Joe. What do you want? Me, Laurie, Irene? What?
I don't know.
Dad, what's wrong? Does Edie know you're like this?
Like what? I'm all right.
Look, I'm sorry you don't approve. I mean, of the way I'm living and all.
I guess I'm responsible.
You?
I just couldn't feel anything for your mother anymore. I guess I should have tried to. hang in somehow.
Honey, relax.
Oh, Edie, I keep asking myself, if I had stayed, would Lori be where she is right now?
Darling, you couldn't have stayed. You didn't love Irene.
Every couple that madly in love? Other couples make compromises, accept things. We wanted things perfect, didn't we?
Yes. And we've been happy, Joe.
You know, maybe I didn't love my wife anymore, like the fairy tales say. I managed to live there for 9 years. Maybe I should have stuck. I could have gone to the pastor, tried analysis or therapy. I mean, I just gave up, Edie. Or maybe I gave up too soon. It's like I've always given up on a job as soon as I find out that it didn't turn out to be what I expected. I've always been so easily disillusioned. Here I am, past my prime. Hustling in one agency job for 2 years, another one for 3. Never anything permanent.
We're permanent, Joe. We are. Joe. Thanks for stopping by, John. Guess I needed something for my nerves.
You never needed tranquilizers before, Edie.
Maybe my metabolism is changing or something.
Everything all right around here?
I'm afraid not, John.
Want to talk about it?
I'd like to. Come on and sit down. So you see, John, this thing about Laurie has upset him very much.
I imagine Joe feels pretty guilty. And you? You feel pretty much the same way, don't you?
Oh, I feel terrible about the whole thing.
Years ago, when you told me you and Joe were seeing each other, I warned against it. Especially since there was a child involved. Edie, don't you think the marriage might have been saved if Joe had a mind to save it? If you hadn't been around with your own needs?
But I loved him. Oh, I don't know.
It was a family. Parents. A daughter. You were outside that. Still, you felt you had the right to intrude. To play God.
Is that what I was doing?
Only God plays God well, Edie. You were both members of Pastor Rockwell's congregation. I suppose you haven't been back in years.
You suppose right.
I remember when you first told me about yourself and Joe, I suggested you talk to the pastor. He's still there, you know. And I'm sure he'd be glad to help you, if you wanted.
Thanks.
How's it going?
It isn't.
Oh, darling, maybe you ought to take a break.
Yeah, good idea.
Joe, I was talking to John Jameson today. I told him about Laurie.
Why did you do that?
Well, I'm concerned. And you know, John's a good friend, and he's always been objective.
So what did good old objective John have to say?
Well, he thought we might start by seeing Pastor Rockwell.
Pastor Rockwell, he wouldn't even remember who we are.
Oh, I think he would.
Look, I don't need to be put down by the church right now. I've had my share of that already today. I went down to the village again today. I finally met Laurie's roommate. Went to the store where he works and bought myself a poster all about love. Love. Do you think that kid knows anything about love? He's a baby. He can't be much older than she is. While I was there, Laurie came in. And I had it out with her in the store. You know what she said?
Are Chuck and I any different than you and Edie? Only we're honest enough to live together out in the open. You had to be found out.
She's right. Every word. What more can be said?
Joe, there's a lot more.
Well, then you tell her because I can't.
Me? But Joe, you're her father.
Yeah, and you're in on this, too. You've been in on it since the beginning.
Yes. Yes, but there were two of us, remember?
Yes. Yes, you came by the house that day that you knew that Irene wouldn't be around that first day. Yeah, I was working in the den, and you came. You weren't asked to come.
Stop it, Joe!
Well, you figured out some reason to drop by, wasn't that it?
Stop it!
Yes, you wanted what you wanted, and that's all you knew. You didn't care about my wife or my kid. You wanted me, and you went after me with everything you had. You had me crazy. I gave up my family because of you.
I want Daddy. I want Daddy.
Chuck,
Yeah?
what did you think of my father?
He's straight. Like a 6-foot ruler.
I can't help thinking about what he said in the shop.
He gives me bad vibrations.
Look, will you stop talking like that? I'm trying to be serious.
Okay.
I don't want to hurt him.
Well, he walked out on you, didn't he?
He didn't walk out on me. He and my mother just had big differences. Chuck, he's so unhappy.
Look, all he needs to do is get high. That'll loosen him up. Who's that? Hey, it's him. It's your old man.
Dad!
Oh, baby.
Yeah, is he bombed?
Here, let me help you. Well, help me with him. Here.
Listen, sweetheart, listen, please. I'm sorry, you understand?
Yes, Daddy, it's all right. It's okay. Here, just lay down here.
I am sorry.
Laurie, I appreciate you bringing your father home. You're a good person. Look, don't hate me anymore.
I never hated you.
I wish we could be friends, real friends. Your father loves you very much. Don't make it any worse for him, please.
Goodbye, Edie.
I still think it would have been more helpful to talk to Pastor Rockwell, but I'm honored you asked me to come over.
John, we asked you to drop by here first because, well, we just didn't feel right about barging in on the pastor because we'd been away so long.
I'm sure he wouldn't have minded at all.
Perhaps not. Sure that you've put all the pieces together and you realize that we do have a few problems.
You mean Laurie?
Laurie and maybe more.
You see, John, the more Joe got involved in this, the more he felt that the way that he and I got together, well, who were we to judge Laurie and Chuck?
Edie said that you saw trouble ahead right after we were married. I guess we were just too stupid. John, I can't leave Laurie down there in the village with that young man playing at being grown up. But I don't know what to do.
Well, I'm much better at writing prescriptions, Joe, but since you ask, I'll try to answer. I find the strength and the courage to walk into each new day by leaning heavily on Christ. And I'm not at all embarrassed to say so. It's through Christ, and I mean his life and death for me, that I'm assured of God's love.
John, we both know that you have a deep religious faith, and we admire you for it. But how does what you just said help us with Laurie?
Yeah, how can it?
Well, I can't live your life. But I've got a feeling that if, at this crisis moment in your life, you really turn to Christ, asking his forgiveness for what you've done to Laurie, to Irene, and to yourself, you'll find the courage and the strength you've been looking for. You'll be able to deal with Laurie honestly and firmly, and above all, lovingly. And I think you'll also find that other things will begin to fall into place for you, too.
Wish I could accept that. Just seems too easy.
You said you admired my way. Try it. My way is to let Christ direct my life. I'm giving it to you straight.
I don't know.
Why don't you both make an appointment to see Pastor Rockwell? I'd be very happy to smooth the way. And I'm sure he would be able to help you both.
Laurie, I did a terrible thing to you when you were young. I can't make up for it now. But at least I can try and be a father to you now. I want you to go back to your mother.
And if I don't?
Then it's quite likely that you're going to end up a pretty unhappy girl. Laurie, I made a terrible mistake, and I've suffered for it. Do you think I want to see you make just as big a mistake?
It's no mistake.
Chuck, the way things are now, the chances of anything healthy, lasting, working out between the two of you, I mean for a lifetime, are practically zero. I have nothing against you personally. Believe me, as far as I'm concerned, you kids are perfectly free to go on seeing each other. I won't be so pompous to say that I'm doing either of you a favor. Because if there is something real between you, then Laurie's going back won't affect it. Laurie, your mother wants you back very, very badly. Your stepfather feels the same way. I want you to go back, honey. It's the most important thing in my life. And it's just as important for you.
This is the Life is brought to you by the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod in cooperation with the Lutheran Laymen's League and is presented by this station as a public service to the religious life of the community.
You can view additional episodes of This is the Life on the Main Street Living website. Thanks for watching, and join us again next week, same time, same channel, for another episode of This is the Life.